Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you are watching me live, you are watching Real Estate Real Late. And if you're listening to this recording, you are listening to A State of Wealth. Both of them talk about real estate. I'm a real estate agent. I'm licensed in New York, New Jersey, and North Carolina. So I pretty much talk about real estate all day, every day. I specialize in Charlotte, North Carolina, in athlete and sports relocation. So that's really my wheelhouse. In my head, I wanted to play for the WNBA, but when I was playing basketball, please, if you've heard this joke before, just bear with me. I was just on a clubhouse last night with my friend Ashley Battle, who played for the New York Liberty. We were talking about relationships and other stuff. So she's heard this. So AB, if you're listening, you've already heard this. But I started playing basketball at a time where if you were tall, y'all know if you see me out, I'm very tall. All you pretty much had to do is show up and you were on the team. And if you could just if you could play a little bit, you got to start. So I did pretty good. And by the time I was a senior in high school, I was captain of the girls basketball team. And then I had a baby and got married and had more children. And so that's how that whole story went. So in my head, I should have been playing for the WNBA. So when I decided to get into real estate, I wanted to stay in my wheelhouse, which was sports and athletes. You know, I'm a very, for those who do the rubrics, I'm a high D. So I'm a high driver, and athletes and real estate agents too. We play our game at a very, very high. If you're good, if you're actually any good, you play at a very high and competitive level. So what better two ways than to marry real estate and sports than to do athlete and sports relocation? So I love it. So I love what I do. Tonight we have a good topic. Tonight we're talking about celebrity homes. But don't forget to click like and click share so you can share this podcast if it's been helpful. When we do Real Estate Real Late, we come on late night. And then if you're listening to A State of Wealth podcast, please don't forget to click like and click share so people can get the benefit and have a little fun with me too, and have a cocktail. Don't forget, tonight we are just sipping on Don Q Puerto Rican rum and pomegranate. So this is a little tasty. But before we get into the celebrity homes and all this, I want to answer a couple of questions. So the spirit of why I do this every day is because I have people ask me questions all the time about buying a home, what should they do once they get the home, or reverse more. I mean, I just get tons of real estate questions, and then in the course of my day, I don't really have the opportunity to answer all those questions. So that's why I'm doing it now. So one of the questions I received today was, how do you buy a home? That is definitely Real Estate 101. And so I'm just going to share a couple of things. I've done enough shows and enough blog posts. You can go to SaidaBrown.com, estateofwealth.com. And you'll see enough blog posts where I talk about how to buy a home and the steps that you need to take. The first thing you need to do when you are ready to buy a home is you need to create a snapshot of your finances. That is the very first thing you need to do. Not call your friend who's a real estate agent and say, I'm ready to buy a home, because then they're going to be pissed because you're not really ready. You need to know. Let me actually put my other phone down so I can really dive into this. You really need to know your credit score. If you don't know your credit score, that's a non-starter. You need to know what your FICO is. No disrespect to Credit Karma, but go to either a financial professional before you even go to a mortgage company, or before you even come to a real estate agent. You need to know what your credit score is. So do something that's a little bit more reputable and a little stronger than Credit Karma, because Credit Karma is known to be off by as many as 20 to 25 points, and that can cost you a lot of money. Not only do you need to know what your credit score is, you need to know what your total debt and your income is. In finances, that's your debt to income ratio, without getting too into the weeds about that right now. But you need to know how much money you're bringing in and how much money you can prove. Because you can have a lot of money sitting under your mattress in your house, and that's not going to do it. You need to know how much money you can prove that you earn, whether it's Airbnb, Grubhub, driving for Uber, driving for... In years prior, banks frowned upon any income that could not be substantiated through a W-2. I would say it's 2021 now. I would say probably going back to maybe 2019, I started seeing where banks were starting to really have to grapple with people that had gig economy money and didn't have a regular 9-to-5 job, or quote unquote 9-to-5 job, or they had these 2 or 3 side hustles and they were making considerable income. And so banks were leaving money on the table because they're saying, well, it was too much of an inconvenience for them to try to figure out your risk factor, if you are actually going to be a risk, if they gave you $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to buy a home, if you actually had the means to pay it back. So let me take it back. Banks before COVID were actually really entertaining this gig economy money to be able to qualify you for a home. We're in a now post-COVID world, so I really can't say. A lot of people now are buying homes with cash or with much larger down payments. So the needle is a little bit different. However, before you decide to buy a home, before you call me, or before you start going to open houses, you need to know your credit score, you need to know your debt to income ratio, and you need to understand what you need to decide what you really want and why. Let me explain this. I remember years back when we were buying our first home, there were certain things that I wanted and certain things that my husband wanted, and they were not in tandem with each other. There were things that were on his must-have list and things that were on my must-have list. Do you want to live near work? Do you want a bigger house? So I know in the New York, New Jersey area, the further away from New York, the more home you get for your money. I didn't say it's less expensive. What I'm saying is the more home you will get for your money. So basically, you can spend $400,000 on a home. That's nothing in North Jersey. And in New York City, that's you're not even in the ballpark. But if you start to move further out, you will still spend that same amount of money, but you will get more home for your money. Maybe a little more square footage, bigger bedrooms, garage, attached garage instead of a driveway. You just get more for your money. So now you have to decide, once you know your credit score and your debt to income ratio, if you in fact, what things are very important to you. So you may not want a long commute. I know where we were in North Jersey, just outside of New York, there were people that I actually know that commuted in from Connecticut to work in Manhattan. That's crazy to me. Because now they're paying taxes to 2 states. They're paying income tax to New York, and they're paying income tax to Connecticut, which is nuts. Well, if it worked for them, it worked for them. But they wanted a certain quality of life, maybe for their children, and they didn't mind going into Grand Central and spending $300-$400 on a train commute every month. Is baked into their mortgage or to their monthly expenses, I guess. Someone like me, I'd rather take a smaller place and have a shorter commute because I want a different quality of life. So those are the things you have to really, really, really think about. So before you even come to a real estate agent or to start going to open houses and say you want to buy a house, know your credit score, know your debt to income ratio, and know why you actually want to buy a house. Wanting to buy a house because your friends bought a house or because your friends are buying a house is not a good enough reason. What is it? FOMO, fear of missing out. That is real. And I have seen people jump the gun and their friend bought a bigger house. Now they want a bigger house. Or their friend has a pool. They want a pool. Those are not good reasons to actually want to buy a house. It just blows my mind. But you know what? FOMO is real. Fear of missing out is real. So make sure you know your credit score. Make sure you know your debt to income ratio. And make sure you know why you are buying a home. Not just because your friends are buying a home or because you want the biggest house on the block. Because let me tell you something. When those mortgage payments start coming, that's like when you buy a car. Everybody wants that new car smell. But you buy that car, And now, 9 months into that $400 note, you're like, dang, why did I buy that car? It's the same thing with a home, and you cannot return a home. So anyway, that's one of the questions that I get asked most frequently. Saida, I want to buy a home. How do I buy a home? Those are 3 really simple things that you can do to start to prepare yourself before you contact a real estate agent and before you start going out in the streets talking about, I'm getting ready to buy a house, and you got a 500 credit score. Now, let me say this one last thing. Because, another thing too, that they're probably getting ready to re-rate how people's credit scores are gauged in September. So I'm working on a little story about that. So we'll probably hit that topic in about a week. I need a little bit more information. But yes, how they rate your credit score is definitely going to change. So just be mindful. All people that are in the 7s and stuff like that, close to 800, they are actually getting ready to change how credit scores are tracked and rated. So I believe that change is coming in September. I'll have more information on that. I don't have that information right now. But let me go back spin to what I was going to say about your credit score. You can buy a house with a 580 credit score. You can buy a house with a 620 credit score, but you are going to pay a lot more interest. So to get the most favorable terms when you buy a home, it is best to have at least in the 7s, 725, 750 to get the most favorable terms. That and a 20%, at least a 20% down payment. Now you're in the money. You can do really well. You have a little bit of bargaining power. If your credit score is lower, it's not that the banks won't finance you, but you are probably going to, not probably, I can almost bet my bottom dollar, you are going to pay a much higher premium. And then if you come in under 20%, you're going to have to pay something called mortgage insurance, which is PMI, which can add almost $200 to $400 to your monthly mortgage payment. And that's a lot of money, especially if you are buying your home on the margin. So any little hiccup in your finances could really put you in a prickly and compromised financial situation because of PMI. And typically, your mortgage lender will not remove that PMI until you've hit 80%, until you pay down 20% of your mortgage. So I actually have my intention to do a whole show on actual financing and how it's calculated, how your payments are actually calculated towards your mortgage. So I have a whole lot of things that I want to talk about. Like, these are just the questions that I'm asked on a day-to-day basis. But the amortization of your mortgage, what percentage of your mortgage payment is actually going to your mortgage versus what's going to interest. So just keep watching. We have a lot of stuff to talk about as far as that goes. But I wanted to talk a little bit about celebrity homes. The first home I wanted to talk about is Frederick Eklund from $1 Million Listing in New York. I've been on $1 Million Listing a couple of times. And it's funny because we'll record $1 Million Listing, and I never knew when the episodes that I was in would air until somebody called me and say, Saida, I was watching Bravo and saw you on $1 Million Listing. So I'm going to find those pictures of me and Frederick Eklund and post them on my Facebook page. He is so sweet, and he's really, really tall. You know what? I wonder if there's something about height in real estate agents, because Frederick Eklund is very tall. Ryan Serhant is very tall. Most of the high-power broker real estate agents that I know, I'm just saying, in New York, they're very tall. I'm tall. I don't know if that means something. But anyway, Frederick just listed his house in California, and he's renting it out for $65,000 a month. Go Frederick. I mean, $65,000, that is more than some people's salary. Before I screw up the details, let me see if I can get the exact specifics, because I always prepare my show notes to make sure that I'm giving you the right information and nobody can come back and say, Sai, I said, let me FredRickACKLUND. Let's see. I know he's renting it for $65,000, but I want to find out exactly where, and then we're going to talk about some celebrity homes that are currently on the market. There it is. Okay, so let's see. So this is according to The Real Deal. The Real Deal is what every New York City real estate agent reads, because it is almost our Bible. I don't want to say Bible because the Bible is the Bible, but it just gives us really good information about what's happening in New York real estate. So Frederick Eklund lists Bel Air mansion for rent as his family moves to their forever home. So I remember when Frederick moved from New York to California to grow his business the same way I came to Charlotte to grow my real estate business. Frederick and family are moving into their forever home and putting their Bel Air mansion for rent. The Douglas Elliman agent and $1 Million Listing Los Angeles star, because he started in New York with us, is asking $65K a month for a 7-bedroom property at 1211 Stradelia Road, according to People magazine. Eklund wrote about the home and listing on Instagram. It's like living inside a Hollywood dream, and now it's time to let the next family enjoy it, because we're about to move into our forever home. The 10,500 square foot mansion sits behind a gated drive flanked by hedges. Inside there are wood floors, including some parquet floors, wrought iron railings, features in a large kitchen. I mean, if you're renting it for $65K, I wonder, okay, this is the number that I was looking for. He paid $7 million for it. Truthfully, $7 million in LA is, it's I mean, $7 million anywhere. Let's be very, very clear. $7 million is a lot of money. But LA is a different animal. I mean, people are paying $26 million for homes. So yeah, good for Frederick and his husband Derek. They have twin children, a boy and a girl. I remember when his children were born, and they are the cutest, most adorable little babies. They're actually so cute. And all of New York City real estate agents celebrated the birth of Frederick's twins. So congratulations, Frederick. Hey, David. Thank you for watching. David knew my mom. Now you're watching me, David, as a grown-up. So hugs and kisses to you. I love you. I love you. I love you to pieces. And thank you so much for watching this live. Just get into a little bit of celebrity homes. I try to keep our shows to about 30 minutes. It's time for just a little sippy sip of my cocktail. So we're talking about Awkwafina. We're talking about California homes right now. So she just listed her West Hollywood, California home for $2.395 million. This is what I was just saying when I was talking about Frederick's home for $7 million. $7 million is a lot of money. She's listing hers for just under $2.3 million. Let's see. If you don't know who Awkwafina is, she is a YouTuber. I'm just trying to get some of the good details about her property. Not much more. She's in her mid-30s, initially a popular YouTuber who began her career, Hollywood stardom, yada, yada, yada. I'm just trying to find out about her home. Oh, Compass has the real estate. Compass is a really good brokerage. Mine, Sotheby's, is better, but Compass has the listing. It's a townhouse condo featuring dark wood floors, built-in sound system with in-ceiling speakers, lots of floor-to-ceiling windows, and double-height atrium dining area. So we wish her the best in selling her home. Good for her. I mean, this is what I was just saying at the top of this live, just about this gig economy money. 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there was no such thing as a YouTuber. Like, you could actually make a viable living. I mean, the same could be said about TikTok. That is real money. You are turning real followers into real money, which is you are converting into real property and real cash, real assets, tangible assets that can be passed down to subsequent generations. So, yeah, I mean, big shout out if you can make your money doing YouTube videos. I'm all for it. Let's do it together. So big shout out to Awkwafina. I wish her the best, and I hope she sells her home quickly. Let's see who else has their homes up for sale. Let me go into my notes. Notes. If you have any questions, put them in the chat room, and I'll definitely answer them live for you. She has a second floor guest bedroom. Yeah, that should be standard. I mean, in a house that's a couple multi-million dollars, that's to be expected. Um, let's see what we have here. More from our brands. Oh, Dion Cole, who actually Dion Cole just canceled his party. He was doing a boat ride, and it just got canceled for COVID. He had it on his Instagram and just posted that his boat ride, his all white boat party, is canceled out of an abundance of caution because of COVID. So big shout out to Dion Cole for being responsible and putting people's health over the need to have a star-studded party. I mean, who doesn't want? I want a party. I don't know about you, but I am so ready to just put on a nice dress and go outside and just live it up. But you know, the time is not right now. Oh, Fred Durst. Y'all should know who he is. He moved into a 1920s Mediterranean overlooking Chateau Marmont. Let's see what he's doing. Let's see what Mr. Durst is buying. Oh, West Hollywood, $3 million. Fred Durst is officially rocking it out in the Mediterranean style in Los Angeles, having plunked down $3 million for a renovated circa 1925 villa overlooking the Sunset Strip's fabled Chateau Marmont. The Limp Bizkit frontman, yeah, just Google Fred Durst. He's so amazing. He got the property from hoteliers Avi Brosh and his wife Kirsten Lee Pratt. They picked up the 3-bedroom, 4-bath house from Oscar-winning documentary producer Rich Middlemas 2 years ago, paying $2.9 million. So Fred Durst is 50 years old. He's putting the finishing touches on a new Limp Bizkit album, which is good. I mean, I like him. You know, whatever, you have to be open in your musical selection and your musical choices. His new house, 2,000 plus square feet. The sidewalk out front is a short set of steps flanked by cypress trees. Cypress trees are gorgeous. Just Google You know what? Maybe I'll do a whole live on landscaping. So this is saying that he has cypress trees and it leads to an ornate wooden door. If you know somebody who is a great landscaper, I have my friend Evan Santee. Maybe I'll bring him on one of these lives so he can talk about the importance of landscaping and how that can really change the whole look. To me, landscaping in the front door can totally change the look of your home. And that's not that expensive. In comparison to other renovations that you would actually do, in last night's show, I was saying that you should spend 1 to 3% of your home's value on your annual upgrades and keeping your house modern, and landscaping and a front door is a very good way to spend that money. So his house has cypress trees leading to an ornate wood door opening into a living room with wood beam ceilings. The living room is adjacent to a den/bedroom with a stamped tin ceiling, bath, and French doors. Who doesn't love French doors? I think French doors are so elegant. I mean, well, I love greenery. I love garden-esque homes with good greenery, good landscaping, just good landscaping, period. Last year during COVID in New Jersey, we couldn't go anywhere. Y'all remember New York and New Jersey, we couldn't even leave the house. And the only place we could go was Home Depot. And that was because it was considered, I guess, necessary. I don't know how they categorize retail stores or whatever. So I began this yard to garden renovation, and it's actually on the IG. I think it is on the Real Late Instagram page. My whole yard to garden renovation. That was the only place that was open. Home Depot and the grocery store. Regardless of how you feel about Home Depot and how they donate to anti-LGBT, I prefer Lowe's. But Home Depot was closer to my house and it was open. So anyway, I did this whole yard to garden renovation where I literally, and I had never done this before, but I couldn't go anywhere, tilled the dirt, laid sod, dug up my two sons and I know they were fit to be tied. We dug up a tree. There was a pine tree in the back corner and it was just there. It was dead. Just left it there. It's been there when we bought the house. We actually dug the tree up. Do you know how deep roots go? I had no clue how deep roots actually go into the ground. So we're digging. The way I was able to get this tree out, because it was cold. It was March/April when we started this project. What I had to do was get a saw, and every time we were able to move the tree back and forth, we would actually take the saw and try to saw the roots. But the bad part about that is now you have the roots that are in the ground. So they were sawed off. So hopefully at some point they would just die. But anyway, it was a mother to get that tree out. But anyway, going back to landscaping. And I did a beautiful yard to garden renovation, painted the wall, laid sod, we put a new walkway. And it kept me busy during COVID because we couldn't go outside. But anyway, let's get back to Fred Durst. He has beautiful cypress trees, which are lovely. I'll see if I can find a picture of the listing and I'll put it on my blog. Don't forget to click like and click share, and you can go to Estate of Wealth, ESTATE, or you can check out our Instagram, Real Estate Real Late. Let's see. Let's talk about one more celebrity property outside of J-Lo and Ben Affleck getting back together, which I don't even want to hear anymore. If that comes up in my news feeds, I'm going to refrain from commenting on that one because I just don't even want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. I want that whole thing to be over. Oh, here's some great, I Googled it really quickly. I found some great pictures of the home. And the photos are courtesy of Realtor.com, so that'll give me permission to post them. I think I'm going to reach out to my friend Evan so he can come on the show and talk about landscaping. Let me see. Any other interesting finds? Let's talk about one more. We talked about Dion Cole. We talked about Aquafina. We talked about Fred Durst. We talked about Frederick Eklund. Oh, let's see, one more. Let's do one more. These are all in my little stash of what celebrities are buying what homes. Oh, these are about art. Let's see. Oh, yes. This is just saying how celebrities are investing in really ornate art pieces for their properties. You know what? Maybe we'll talk about NFTs one night too. My mind, I just have so many things I want to talk about and want to share. I'm so happy I decided to do this every day because there's so many things in real estate that I talk about with other people that I could probably just share with you, and you can learn just like I learned. The real estate market and the real estate industry is changing every single day, and so there's always something to learn. There's always something to talk about. There's always just new stuff to explore. So that's another thing I want to add to the show. I want to talk about some NFTs. But anyway, we are at the 30-minute mark, and before I log off today, I want to show you this recent issue of Folio. It is a luxury magazine, Extraordinary Properties. This is the North Carolina edition, and look at my little adorable face. That's me right there. Can you see me? Saida Brown. Yay. So if you want a copy of Folio, I will send it to you. I'll put it in the mail. Just shoot me an email. All my information is on the live. My phone number, everything is here. It's public. I don't have nothing to hide. But if you want a current edition of Folio with my picture inside, and it has beautiful, Folio is produced by Sotheby's, who is my broker. Just beautiful, luxurious homes throughout the Carolinas and throughout Florida. I mean, they are absolutely stunning. So if you want a complimentary copy, here's a beautiful property in Naples. This one is $19.5 million. So I will gladly pop a Folio in the mail to you. Just shoot me your mailing address, and you will get to see a cool picture of me inside this luxury magazine. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember, we shall pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that we can do or any kindness that we can show to any human being, let us do it now. Let us not defer or neglect it, for we shall not pass this way again. That just means do the right thing, people. Do the right thing. Be a good person. And big shout out to the Black Isle for this t-shirt. Thank you so much. Check them out, theblackisle.com, for all your black business news. And a big tasty good night to Don Q, this delicious Puerto Rican rum. And I'm drinking pomegranate. So thank you so much for watching on Real Estate Real Late. And thank you so much for listening to A State of Wealth, wherever podcasts can be found, iTunes, Spotify, and definitely on astateofwealth.com. Thank you so much, and I will see you all tomorrow.